And we're live. All right, y'all. Welcome back to another podcast episode of the newly titled Soapbox Social of the More Than Network. Um, Look at her clapping. So, how are you feeling today?
I am feeling good, feeling great. I'm blessed. How are you today?
I'm doing well after church. I'm doing very well. I was just picking on you about claiming you wasn't gonna do your full face.
Yeah, once I start, I can't stop. No, I'm just kidding.
Uh-huh. No, but so today's episode will be around um impeded progress within silent suffering. Um, which is funny because over the course of what, a week and a half from the last episode,
Mhm.
this episode has organically been brought upon me to talk about. Um, just from anything, it just randomly popped into my head about how paying attention to negative energy and like perceived hate and actual hate
Mhm.
really stops a person from advancing themselves. You know what I mean? Advancing oneself. I keep playing with my face with my nose itch. Hold on.
Sorry about
and
that loud cars, but yeah, I hear you.
and I don't know. A lot of the things I talk about are self-reflection things, but I also know that people go through those things as well.
Mhm.
Um, because I was just sitting chilling after the first podcast, and I was just, I'm big on organic growth and things of that nature.
Mhm.
So I was sitting there, I was just like, yeah. And I had went back to look at like, the analytics of the episode, and I had told you that it was a person that like I'm just now seeing from episodes from a year ago. And I was just like, what's funny is if in real time I would have probably caught that and was like, dang, maybe like these do like suck or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now I'm like in a place where I'm just like, nah, like I understand that like everything's not for everybody, and the things that we say like will resonate with certain people that it resonates with.
Mhm.
And I was just like, dang, it's just the fact that I'm in a place now to where I'm just like, all right, that doesn't affect me. The negative doesn't affect me to be like, I'm gonna stop this, I'm gonna shut this down, right?
Mhm. That's good. Mhm.
And how can I pose this to you? Have you noticed things like that for you recently of just negative energy coming and trying to stifle your progress, whether that's inwardly and outward progress?
Yeah, that's kind of a battle I had to try to get over. As far as I mean, if it's not even given to you directly, you still feel it. It could be through like words or just checking people's energy on the same course. And what I mean by that is dealing with the social media world, right? Because that's where people want to market themselves or just put themselves out there just to show talent or whatever. Or just give word, give whatever they're choosing to do on the social media. But still, I just didn't had several things going on that'll stop me from either saying what I want to say truthfully or doing what I want to do. So it just
No, I'm not even talking about just, the social media presence of it all. I'm just talking about which ties into the silent suffering. Like
mhm, mhm,
everyone has things that they deal with on a day to day or just
mhm,
randomly.
mhm,
And like, you know, certain times people have like epiphanies or like awakenings in their life to where like they're over the old and trying to transition into their new.
mhm,
And which, yeah, so remember I was telling you that it was a podcast that I really just haven't been subscribing to, but I was excited to watch it because it had two boxes that I'm interested in the Charlo twins. And it had one brother on there that I was real shocked to see because he hasn't been active boxing for like 2 years. So I was wondering what was going on in his life. And he had gave insight to it.
Okay.
And while talking, and he was going through what he was going through, he was talking about the ones closest to you knowing what you're going through and not being there to confide in, right? And not being there to help see through. And that had resonated with me because I'm just like, dang, all right. And he was talking about, all right, so yeah, he was talking about in the midst of him going through what he was going through, he was satisfied and found comfort and solace with his brother um achieving the things that he desired to achieve and still desires to achieve. And also how he was also breaking down and going through like the course of them coming up in the sport and how his biggest thing was separation anxiety and how he really just didn't want his brother to leave him behind, right? That's the thing that still plagues him to this point, but he's also happy that his brother's going out and doing. And within listening to that, it was beautiful to me because I'm just like, all right, he's battling what he's battling, going through what he's going through, and rather than hating, right, and trying to bring down, he implores it and says that he's motivated by it, even within his turmoil, right? And so I was looking at that, and it brought me to the fact of thinking, because I lost it when I was finishing it. All in all, it's just the fact of him being able to show the strength and be vulnerable on the walk of him going through his turmoil. And it spoke to me because I'm just like, yo, a lot of people would have been just sidetracked and brought down with the pressures of the world in his position because he was like, yo, I'm still a world champion and people are looking to me to produce and be great. And he's like, I don't have anything to give to myself, right? He's like, I don't have anything, right? And I say all of that to go back to ask, like, yo, without it being a social media thing, like, have you noticed like places of where maybe you've paid attention too much to the negative rather than the positives in your life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So without it being social, I'll just I'll say it like this. In my life thus far, like I say again, I thank God for where I am at today. Let me just start there. But my expectancy of things as far as like siblings or parental people, parents, my mom, my sisters. I don't have any brothers, of course. But I I just look at myself like this. Not so much look at myself, it's just that me going through the many things that I went through, there was never a good push, or it just always, to me, now if I'm wrong, Lord forgive me, but to me it's just like, oh, I feel like I'm being envied or looked at like, and it's not even about all of that. It's just that that's what I felt like. Okay, envy me for what? You know what I'm saying? When I'm trying to be a better me, when I'm trying to change for the better, not to be better than no one, but change for the better. And it's just like to get to get backs turned on you like, oh, okay, well, I don't care. I'm not concerned about what she got going on. I'm not
Yeah.
concerned if she want to make it to where she want to make it to. But in other words, I'm just saying like, okay,
Mm,
with the reciprocation part, right? I
yeah.
would like for it to be reciprocated because I
Do
give
you
out a
feel
lot.
do you feel like, or have you identified, maybe you haven't because this is new, like areas that had impeded passions, or like um maybe it's certain crafts or whatever that you wanted to get into? Like, do you feel like that had the rather silent and or overt negative energy, covert, not overt, negative energy had impeded anything that you really like inspired to do, or like something that you were doing in the moment that was a turn of the leaf for you?
Yeah, like okay, so I've always been in like beauty, health and beauty, as they call it, and all my life. I mean, not so much saying all my life, but I went to school for cosmetology just to bring it up to the forefront. I graduated that, got a certificate in that, and it's just like there was no. I could just tell the difference between when I accomplished things, it wasn't a hooray for me. Not really, didn't care because it's a lot of things. I went to a graduation by myself, blah, 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 whatever. But it's just still the thing of the people that say that they love you, that they're there for you, that they're, a call away. And then on your most important times of your life, your high moments, is
Yeah.
like, where are you? But it has stopped me from doing a lot of things. Like, but I never give up. I'll just say it like that. I never give up. No matter if I've stopped doing things for a long time, I still behind the scenes, I'm still working on stuff. I'm still working on things just to better it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
everybody's not gonna like you said at the beginning, everybody's not gonna like what we're doing, what you're doing, what I'm doing. And that's okay. I've come to
Hmm.
learn that that's okay because I'm not for you, evidently. There's other people, there's tons of people out here, other people out here to, and I'm not going to say appease, but that will like what I'm doing or like what I'm saying. And it's not
Hmm.
even, I'm not looking for likes, but it's just the same token.
Yeah, no. So I have found where I was going with the Jamal Charlo thing.
Hmm.
And the reason why I forgot was because I also had talked about because I was just randomly just watching stuff throughout the week, and I was watching the greatest game ever played on Disney Channel or Disney Plus with Shia LaBeouf, and in that the father had you have cases of people projecting them going after their dreams and them failing, so they just go, yo, don't even try to chase it, just
Hmm.
choose choose a lesser thing that you really don't care about, that way you don't fall flat trying to achieve your goal,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so in that, because we were talking earlier through the week, because I was telling you, because it was heavy on my spirit and on my heart, and I was just like, yo, he would go out and just play just a simple game of golf because he was just naturally gifted at it,
Hmm.
and he was being pushed by the people around him that knew his capabilities. Um, but his dad was just like, yeah, nah, you just need to get an honest paying job
Hmm.
and just give up that dream.
Hmm.
And so to fast forward towards the end of the movie, spoiler, um, his son was playing in a large tournament, and his dad was, defeated, shoveling poop, and the boss had just took a bite out of the apple and just threw it in front of him, and the dad was defeated, um, but found a glimmer of hope within seeing his son on the newspaper being in contention to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to you after, in the midst of like getting spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling you like it had touched and moved me because I was just like, yo, we pay attention to the hate and seeing it as, yo, they despise it and are disgusted by the turn of the page for us in that current moment. But we're looking at it wrong because that person, they don't know how to show they don't know how to show at that time that they're being inspired or they're being emotionally affected
Mm-hmm.
and given hope. So they spew it out in a way that we see as hate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they're and the whole time tying it back to the Jamal Charlo when he was telling his brother, hey, don't leave me behind, don't forget about me. He was we hear a person cut their energy shift and they go, how dare you change on me? Like how dare you think about leaving me in this place that we are of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And looking at both contrasts from the movie and then the reality and hearing the honesty and the vulnerability behind it all. Um and so when I was listening to that and then seeing how the daddy was reacting to his son walking into the limelight and achieving and actually grasping his dream.
Mm-hmm.
And then hearing Jamal Charlo tell his brother, like, yeah, my brother undisputed, he got these and it's inspired me to go get it. So when I get done with fighting the fight that I'm fighting, I'm gonna go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so tying it back into my recent stage of having a moment of feeling defeated and suffering in silence, it just came full circle because it's just like I understand and know because, back to what this is, my passion project and all, and being there for men, it's just like we do suffer in silence. And every time it may seem like, all right, I'm getting my head above water, there'll always be something that comes around and stymies or tries to check like if you're serious about turning that leaf, you know, rather it's relational, career wise, or whatever, just the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to you earlier about the imagery and symbolism of us being umbrellas, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we live in a day now to where like we don't really use an umbrella a lot. So it's not looked at as a essential piece, but it's important when you're out in the rain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was telling you like a person to use a beaten and tethered and holy umbrella if that's the only thing they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a person to be grateful for that, even though it comes with getting wet somewhat. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I spoke on the fact of on the whole time of them being up under you and using you and you're trying to patch your holes, you'll have the people that just be like, well, all right, they're doing this themselves and they'll use take. And as soon as the holes are too much for them to handle, they'll just be like, all right, disregard, new umbrella type stuff, right? And I was also telling you, you have the ones that you surround yourself with that either know how to use you appropriately and properly to where those things aren't the issue, or they'll help you patch them holes as well. And that just came from reflection of, understanding the circle that has organically been built around me currently
Mm-hmm.
as it starts to rain.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So, question.
what's
So,
up?
when you say rain, rain can consist of a lot of things. Remember, we was talking about the storm, and rain consists of a storm, and sometimes when you walk in the storm alone, or you could be walking in the storm with a lot of people around you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But going back to that umbrella, it's just like some people don't want to get wet at all. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Some people don't want to get wet. They don't even want to try it. It's just like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and stay in today. I don't got no umbrella. I'm gonna stay in, just
Mm-hmm.
metaphorically. But it's just still at the same token that umbrella is a cover of a protection. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, it just that's how
Nah,
I look
so
at it.
the umbrella is metaphorically because it's like
Hmm.
everyone has the ideal thing that they believe they bring to a situation, but no one actually knows what they bring in a person's life actually until you're in that situation, and that person, if they choose to, confides and tells you what that value in their life you are to them, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's like yeah, you can envision yourself because you know what you're carrying. So you know
Hmm.
what your mental umbrella is for yourself. So
Hmm.
a lot of the times our own worst critics, especially for me, is ourselves. So yes, you devalue yourself. So whenever you come from a
Hmm.
surrounding of people that know you or knew of you, and they have that same cast and view upon you,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's just like, all right, well, this person knows me, so their disdain is more true, right? Is which is what we feel, right?
Hmm.
Which is why
Even though you
I
break
was
up a
talking
little bit,
about
but I hear you.
the I'm breaking up.
You did that little bit time right
Oh
there, but it's
no,
okay. I can hear you.
dang. So
Oh, you good.
I'm trying to figure out where I was at.
You're saying something about this thing with
Oh
people.
yeah, so yeah, from the disdain of people from close to you that knew of you and not the current you, right, or where you're going.
Hmm.
That's why I was talking about the impeding the progress of understanding the hate wrong,
Hmm.
because it's like if you're not that anymore and your mind is not there anymore,
Hmm.
why should their cast of doubt and projection of their current hold you back, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And I say that because I don't know, I really have been getting talked to, and it's mainly because I'm moving further from the mindset and the complacency and the fear
Hmm.
that I was in,
Hmm.
which feels like not that long ago, but I guess it's been a steady climb up, I guess. Um, and I don't know. I just be wanting to speak to different things that happen in my life.
Oh yeah.
Um, and really, I just be trying to let it be known that, like, yeah, in the moment when your mind is not like turning that leaf, and when you're not seeing the other side of things, like it does suck.
Hmm.
And I guess this is me learning how to live with the glass half full. But um, I don't know. I just be really wanting to be the voice of vulnerability to let people know, like, yo, it's okay to show those tears and
Hmm.
show that pain,
Hmm.
control pain, put it like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
And yeah, I mean, I'm disagreeing because that's still like a something I'm still learning as I try to climb out of that mental fear. But as I do that, as I slowly progress on that, it's just like, oh, okay, I can't worry about what nobody says. You know what I'm saying? Even when I speak about God even more, it's like people take it as a joke, like, oh, what? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm just thinking like, well, hey, you either like it or you don't. That's not me. That's not up to me for you to choose. But
Mhm.
it's just like a laugh in the face, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I already know what comes with this walk. You get what I'm saying? I already know what comes with this walk. And I gotta just hold my head up in general because I know what I'm going after. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just silence is not good. It's good in a sense when you're trying to silence away from that negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing because you don't want to become combative to it as they would want the old you. I'm gonna just say it like that because I will combat, but it's just like no, but it's just like no. You just gotta remember. You gotta remember what you're going after, and not so much think about what anybody else has to say. You know, but the people, like you were saying, the people that you have surrounded around you now, it makes you look at things more differently. It makes you open your eyes more because the negative that try to you know, blind whatever state of mind, just to keep you stuck. But those ones who are just bringing the light and God placing the right people in your life, and He do it all the time, but it's just still the same token of I'm happy that you're surrounded by people that will push you to a better level of life.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so um, question. So in the most recent times, have you been in a state of mind where you feel like time is running out, or do you feel like you have enough time to keep
Look at you.
going, or just to reach where you're wanting to reach?
So I did wrestle with that feeling a lot of like fear of running out of time.
Hmm.
Currently I haven't had that on my mind or on my heart. It's
Good.
really just been in a place of like really just diving into all the things that I know I want to do and I want to
Hmm.
achieve. Um, and so as far as like feeling like I was gonna run out of time, no,
Hmm.
it's feeling like I don't know. I feel like I flipped that from run out of time of feeling like I never. What if I never started and never find out, right? Which goes back into what we was talking about in the middle of the week, and I was saying like a, a person that has failed and never tried again looks at a person that repetitively tries and tries and tries, whether it's trial and error or not, and look like, yo, aren't you going to get tired of failing? Aren't you going to get tired of trying? And what if you don't achieve it? Are you going to keep trying to go achieve it?
Hmm.
Which one of the most dangerous quotes and misquoted quotes is the definition of insanity is to try this, like to repetitively try the same thing over again, because that's misinterpreted and can be used rather as a lethal weapon or a helpful weapon. Um, because to try the same thing with fine tuning isn't insanity. It's called correction after a failed try. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And so within coming to understand that as long as you try and then you understand why you may have failed if you do, and you eliminate the things in which that allowed you to fail, and you try again, that's not insane, right? Which leads to understanding you should never give up on the things that you really want to achieve if that's what you want to desire to actually achieve, rather that's emotionally, spiritually, career wise, whatever, right?
Hmm.
So I feel like that's where I've learned from visual experience, um, from me just being silent and learning silently, even when I guess people to see certain things as moments not to learn.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was a good question though. That's why I chuckled in it because I was like, dang, I really did used to be in that mind of like, hey, I'm a run out of time. I'm run out of time. So that's yeah.
But yeah, that's just reflecting back on that trying and failing and trying again and failing, and just me thinking about my situation and what I'm trying to do. I had every fail makes you look back at what can you do differently and what do you
Hey,
need to work on. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all the failing is always just a course. That's just like school. You get what
you
I'm
want to
saying?
know?
So
You want to know what helped that honestly,
what's that?
and is and it's only because I'm hard headed and whenever so I inspired to be very vulnerable, which shout out to me just randomly finding things and learning. Um and learning the difference between transparency and vulnerability.
Mhm.
Um because there's times where I'm hard headed and you get those voices in a moment to where it's like, all right, be vulnerable, open up, be vulnerable, open up. So there's been a lot of instances in just conversations, to the largest conversations that like has pressed and pressed and pressed and allowed me to be vulnerable and open up and express rather things or confide.
Yeah.
And in the midst of what feels like it's like, all right, I'm drowning, right? Or oh, it's a storm. And then when you get done opening up, for me, I'm gonna say for me, um, and you understand like in movies when they show like a person overreacting in like a small bed of water drowning, right?
Mhm.
And realization to stand up and be like, oh, I'm fine here. All right, I'm perfectly fine.
Mhm.
So that's what's been my push is understanding like, yo, you'll never know if you're actually drowning until you put foot to ground and like try to stand up through that thing.
Mhm. Mhm. See, that's what takes me back to we got to give gratitude for what we have right now. Because, that's another reason why failure is a part of growth. Because you have to give gratitude in every, I'm going to say, segment of
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, of your journey. And it's just like, if we not satisfied where we're at, what we've done, what we failed, and all these other great things to go along with it. But that's another thing that would just lead us to keep going, to keep the strength. Basically just put God first through it all, but not so much but put God first, and he'll just teach you, guide you along the way. Because my thing is, especially what I would love for the people, I don't want to hinder anyone. I want to help people. I don't want to hinder you. So if
Hmm.
I gotta fail 1 million trillion times to get it right, for I can be of help, of service to others, then that's what
Hmm.
I do. Because if I don't go through it, how can I teach someone else?
Hmm.
If I don't go through it, how can I be able to share my story with anybody else? So it's just like the feeling, it's a part of life. And
Hmm.
never give up. That's just like I'm gonna speak about relationships real quick, and I'm gonna get out of there. Just like relationships, just to throw it out there,
Hmm.
because a lot of people, don't give up so easily on relationships. Now, if you're married, that's a whole different relationship. That's a union. But
Hmm.
for the relationship people, don't give up just yet. I mean, of course, use your discernment on things of, look at the red flags, as they say. And if that's not lining up with where you're going spiritually, then that's not for you. But if not so much if but if that's the feeling of a spiritual connection, I say it like that, then go for it. Don't give up. just gonna give up. But don't turn evil either. Don't turn cold hearted if it failed. Because sometimes you need time to yourself to work on you. Because it might not be the other person. It might just be you. People always want to
Mm-hmm.
blame and point the finger at others, but it just might be within you that you got to work on. So, like I said again, don't do anything to either hurt or hinder yourself. Period. But I'm done. But
You
yeah,
had talked about what you wanted to bring to the people around you, right?
hmm
And I had alluded earlier in talking about, I guess, the things that was on my mind for this episode. And one I had brought up, I was just like, yo, I'm in a space in my life where if I feel like I'm not giving or bringing value to a situation, rather it's emotional or whatever that resource is,
hmm
um, and some type of support or relief, um,
hmm hmm
I'm secure enough to exit out of that situation. Like, well, yep, I ain't in I'm in a position to where I don't want to be a taker as far as energy or whatever it is, right? I
hmm
want to I want to be able to be a person to be able to bounce things off of, rather
hmm
whatever it is.
hmm
And so,
Balancing.
yeah, which led me to ask. I was like, yo, within me, like thinking that, like, why are people selfish enough to stay in a situation where they know they're draining the other person, or they're just draining, whether it's a friend, just whatever situation it is.
hmm hmm
And I'm like, why are they selfish? Like, why are they not selfless enough to be like, yo, all right, I'm just gonna disconnect from this person, right?
hmm hmm
And I guess it's hard for me to answer that question because I'm not that person, right?
Yeah,
To be like, oh, I'm just gonna stay here and drain this person down, drain this person down.
yeah.
Which I guess I had alluded to the thought of last episode because I was just like, yeah, I opened myself up to being drained and people are draining my energy, right?
hmm
Um, have you been able to identify the areas in which people are feeding into you after receiving the energy that you give to them in your life?
You said, say that one more time, please.
Have you been able to identify the people that are feeding into you, as in giving you a rejuvenation or a fill up, the same way that you basically pour into them as far as energy, etc.?
Like I say again about this expectation part, because I'm gonna come across a whole lot of people, right? But no, it's never really reciprocated back on a balancing level. But
No, don't
it's
lie to me, because I hear you talk about one of your clients all the time.
oh well, okay, well, I'm giving him his props, but now, truthfully speaking, that is it's a will like we we bounce off each other. It's like this: give and take and give and take and give. You get what I'm
Which is what I
saying?
was talking about.
So okay, I take that back. I take that back. My bad. But yeah, it's like I've never had that. I'm not gonna say I've never, but mostly times in different friendship relationships, if never felt like that. You know what I'm saying? Because if a person is really into great energies, they're gonna feel when your energy is down,
Hmm.
and when they do that, you're like, oh, because some people they don't care about that. Like you say, you're not the person. I'm not the person that will be around somebody that just suck up their energy, like, ooh, 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 no. But just to be around him in general, it's just like, wow, he is paying attention to where whenever and whoever my future
Eh,
husband is, he better pay attention to me because I pays attention to you. So therefore, just good reciprocation all
So
around the board.
I'm very observant, right? And
Hmm.
I just walk around expecting that people aren't as observant about. And when I say observant, I mean like I'm observant to like mannerisms and like personality, like
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
So when I experienced another observant person, I was just like, this person sees me, and it made me feel uncomfortable at first, right? Because I'm just like, oh, they see me,
Hmm.
and then I was just like, all right, well, they see me, like, all right, they see me. I ain't gotta like worry about if this person like, oh, this person's too like whatever, and I mean, just assuming the whole cocky thing and the
Hmm.
whole like, I don't know. So I was like, all right, well, and that's been something that like I've been enjoying because it's just like, all right, I ain't gotta
You don't have to be
basically,
nobody but yourself.
yeah, but it's not even that. It's just like, I guess growing out of those boxes again of being
Hmm.
like, all right, this person's like, oh, this person has to be this way since like overconfidence or whatever. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So going back into the whole minimalization.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Going back into the mineralization. Like I said, but but no, that's just so true though, because I've had so many boisterous people that are just, I don't know if they think they're God or anything, but I listen. I just listen. I know I shouldn't, but I just
Nah,
be
it's
like,
not even the whole God thing because so
well, some type of
with
power. They act like they have some type of power. Like you don't understand. Like the people that I encounter, the people that I encounter are like they're high and mighty. Like like nobody can
but
touch
people
me.
assume that about me though, and it's not that. It's just like, am I supposed to walk around the world timid or looking like, yeah, I mean,
So give me an example of like how do you think? Why do you think people like? What would it be something that you think that they think you're just boisterous and
oh, so I'm very matter of fact. Like it's just like, yeah, I mean, so if I say something and I say what I say and I mean what I said, so it's just like, all right. And whenever I say it, it's just like, all right, what's going to be the repercussion from that? Words were
now
said.
is that through like conversation or like disagreement type stuff?
Not just in conversation. Like I just say whatever be on my mind. It's just like, all right,
Well, that's freedom of speech. I mean, you can speak whatever's on your mind. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, don't just. This is how I look at it. Like, I don't think yours is on the same term of what I'm trying to say
yeah,
because
no,
I
I
try to
understand. I was
understand.
just saying, like,
Yeah, I try to understand everybody's voice of opinions or whatever they're saying, but I'm for sure you're not yelling or over irate. You're just
not
speaking, right?
the difference between me and who you were explaining. The people that you're explaining are the people that desire to be seen.
That's it. That's why I say, as long as you're not being that one too, where it's just like, oh, ah, like you shouldn't
Mm,
have to even raise your voice to get your point across on things. I know you're not that type, right?
I don't like arguing and stuff. I gotta raise my voice. That mean I
That
shouldn't
part,
be there.
that part.
Um,
So that part. That's all I needed. That's it. That clears that up. As long as you're not like that, not saying that, okay, but if you're just speaking how you speak, then that's you. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
But watch out for the
but
ones who want to be seen, the ones who's not used to anything, because
oh, look at that. Somehow it always just fall into place. So
hmm
because I don't know. It just random things was popping into my mind and on my spirit. And remember,
hmm
I had brought up to you the song from Cats, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know. I guess I just was in a place of like just looking at my growth without really taking the time to sit there and look at me actually trying and stepping out of what self-doubt.
Mhm.
And I was telling you like, yo, that song had just randomly just popped up into my head and I got real like vulnerable and wanted to cry in the moment. Um because if you've watched Cats, especially the new Cats, because yeah, I mean, I never seen the
Yeah.
old one.
Mhm.
And Jennifer Hudson's character was just a beaten and battered cat that once was, right?
Mhm.
And then throughout the course of the conception of the whole movie,
Mhm.
she has her moment where she sings and talks about coming back into the light, even though it's the moonlight, right?
Mhm.
And it talks about remembering the good times in the midst of the bad times, right?
Mhm.
Um, which is beautiful and poetic,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's how life is, right?
Mhm.
And I'm saying all of this basically to give, whether it's confirmation, inspiration, and or comforting words to
Mhm.
basically, in the midst of you enduring, you're not enduring by yourself. You're just choosing to endure by yourself.
Mhm.
Um, and to basically just continue fighting your fight, but also it's not even focused because I stumbled upon good support, um, but intentionally try to change yourself within in the midst of your battle
Oh
is the
yeah.
only thing that I would say.
Oh yeah. That's a great, great
That's a
advice.
it's a great. You gonna try to
That's
back to
great.
back it and close this one out?
That's a great advice, and just keep working on yourself. I'm just double back on that. Always keep working on yourself. There's never ever a stop to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep growing for the better, a better you for a better new.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, y'all. Peace. This has been the Soapbox Social.
Soapbox Social. See you back next Sunday after next.
All right, fool.